And then I'm going to mute. Okay. Sitting meditation for just a moment where you sit at the edge of the chair. Zhong or central upright. Sort of middle column, middle pillar. That importantly, we can then relax the entire body around. It's known as Chungwon, softening and melting and feeling that sort of natural heaviness and letting that heaviness go in the direction it wants to go, which is down and through, down and through. So it's not that we're pushing something down that doesn't want to go down. Instead, we're releasing where we're holding it up. And actually, as we relax, there's this natural quality of sinking. And it's that sinking that eventually becomes our very stable base. And also that emptying out of what's extra leaves us with qingling or lightness, a little bit of nimbleness, especially as we move through these shenfa or body practices that promote the sort of juicy aliveness and stimulation through the body. And then we really start to feel like, oh yeah, qingling, that's a state to cultivate. So a central pillar, relaxing as your means of stabilizing down, rooting, grounding, and just feeling that easy quality, that easy, spacious quality. And then breathing. Too often our mind, our thinking chatterbox mind is dominating the present moment. So as that becomes quieter, the breathing becomes very, very interesting. It becomes this place to investigate. And it's always happening live. Your breath is always either in inhale state, holding full, exhale state, or empty hold. And so the mind, if you stay right with the breath the whole time, you're also training this stamina of attention for what the Taoists call the E, or sort of master commander pure consciousness. And so the E is, in a sense, what we're really trying to claim power, reclaim. I want to say ownership, but that's maybe not the right word. But our minds can be scattered or they can be totally potent. So every breath round that you execute with attention to it, just think of that you are toning, just like you tone any muscle, you're toning the E, the consciousness. Let's take 5 more breath cycles. Our Shenfa, body mechanisms, slide hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, arch the back. That's spinal extension. And with the exhale, spinal flexion, hollow the chest, drop the head, round back. Let's do that 3-4 times. back to middle, right into the rotational movement, left hand forward, right hand back, shoulders and head turn right, and shoulders and head turn left. Continue. Remember to stay as soft and relaxed as you can throughout, because we're trying to basically tenderize like you would meat, areas of the body that have become less than song. Song being soft, supple, pliable, adaptable, open for flow of electricity, chi blood. Right? And there's these mechanisms of body joints, bone joints and tissue relationships that are in just different states of disarray. And so each round, we're just trying to move it in that correct direction of less brittle, less dense, more supple, pliable, open. And then we're back to middle. Hang the arms. Lateral movement, lean, tip, left wrist float up, left foot empty, right hand as if trying to touch the floor, and then switch. Again, loose. How far you lean, not nearly as important as the direction you're going, and are you doing it with this relaxed quality? More. Back to middle, shoulder blade range of motion. We go forward, up, back, down, under, forward, and up. Oh, back. That shoulder blades, upper back, chest, arms, neck, this whole chassis is one of the most, it is actually the most complicated section of the body in terms of different relationships, amount of muscle connections, and bony joint relationships. So that's why it's very important for walking, for gait balance, to not have this area be all stuck. Let's reverse, go back, up and over, and down. This idea that, again, in Tai Chi, they say top empty, bottom full. That's to counteract the fact that we often are holding on up here, looking for control, looking for balance, in the state of, afraid to fall. We sort of tense up and brace and get ready for it. And so we're trying to counteract that natural instinct to say, no, what happens if I relax everything that's going on up there and just have a loose, adaptable, empty quality, a lighter quality up top. Now, scoot back on your chair so that you're very stable. Let's go right knee lift, right heel kind of pull in, and then we're pushing straight, bend, and down. Other leg, load, unload, reload, down. And then we need foot and ankle loose, so we float the leg out, point, foot, flex, foot, point, flex. Then tilt the foot, invert, evert, in, then we circle, round, and reverse, round. Switch feet, other foot, point and flex. Tilt the foot slightly in, slightly out. And circle, round. Other way around. And down. Scoot forward to the front edge of your chair once more. Step feet a little wider apart than hip distance. The quad, so your thigh bones plug into this socket up in here. So lift the toes, turn on the heels, toes and knees point in. That's internal rotation, closing the quad. And then lift the toes and open the quad. So this is all open. And we've got freedom of movement of the legs, which again, the natural instinct when we stand up to find stability is to sort of grab and hold, right? That makes sense to us. That like, oh, I want to be more stable. Let me hold that thing tight. But it just isn't how we function best. We function best with relaxation, freedom of movement, nothing extra, everything down underneath us in the ground, and a freedom of movement, looseness, not a sloppiness, but this space, this lightness and space. So that's a really important one to get. And then also that allows for freedom of movement here. So that same qua allows for freedom of movement of the pelvis, right? And you'll notice when I do this, my spine isn't rounding. My spine isn't arching. My spine is just coming along for the ride, and it's at this hip joint, the quad, that this movement occurs, and freedom of movement. The more open it is, the easier the movement is. It takes less power, less force, less strength, less energy. Now, standing up, sliding the feet back a little, same idea, loose, relax shoulders, fold, pour the weight out of the chair, and then just rise up. When you rise up, notice any grabbing in the chest, shoulders, or grabbing in the hips. See if you can relax those places even while you're standing. And at first, it may feel like you have less control. It's like, whoa, right? But over time, you'll find this is a way more stable and mobile state. Just standing and stay. That's loose, relaxed. And don't sit in your chair. Fold as if you're going to sit in your chair and try to dangle your fingertips near the floor, touch the floor, and then push through the earth and rise nice and tall. And then just do that a couple of times where with like zero effort, you're just relaxing through movement. And perhaps the most important part of this exercise is as we come up that we don't stop here or even here or even here, but that we get to here. So the hips have to come underneath, because usually how people try to stay safe is this. Right? This is me preparing not to fall, but that also is going to wear out your back, it's going to wear out the neck, it's going to wear out all kinds of places in the body. So you got to get that zhong all the way through the legs now. Where we did it in the chair, that was one thing, but standing and doing it adds a challenge. Now we're going to do a couple of these movements here where you got your chair on your left side, your right side. Stand and face your chair, fingertips near it. This allows you to keep yourself safe. So use the chair to stay safe. Now we're tipping into the toes. back to using toes and heels. And then when you tip to the heels, definitely have your fingertips at least touching the chair so that there's no accidents. Tip to your toes. Middle of feet. Heels. Toes. Heels. Now go into your toes. Stay in your toes. Lift your heels way, way up. Stay in your toes as you lower your heels down. Rock back to your heels, hand on your chair. Lift your toes up off the floor. Lower your toes down. Rock to your toes. Lift. Down. Rock to the heels. Lift. Down. Rock to your toes. Lift. Down. Rock to the heels. Lift. And down. Turn and face up. No, I'm sorry. Stay facing your chair. Now, walk back enough. Palms are resting on that edge of the chair. Stick your butt way back. So this folding is happening at the quad, at the hips, not at a rounding of the back, but at the buttock, leg, hip joint area where you get that stretch to your legs, stretch to your back as well, stretch the shoulders. This is basically downward facing dog from yoga. And then lift the chest up and come out of the stretch. So here we're letting go of the dynamic tension, and then we're hip hinging and recreating that dynamic tension. And then releasing the dynamic tension. And one more time, creating. Hold. And then chest up, walk forward with your feet till once again you've got Zhongjung or vertical upright, where you're standing under your own power. Turn, face forward. Now, turn this inside leg, turn it about 5 degrees out. Your hand is on this chair. Take your other leg, your left foot, and put it in front like this, just very close to you, but the toe drawn up, okay? And we're gonna let this standing leg knee bend as you stick your butt back. So let me turn sideways so you can see this, right? Or this knee, I'm letting this bend a little, sticking the buttock back, and slide this left hand down to the shin, the ankle, maybe even all the way to the foot, and then come back up, standing all the way up. Someday you'll be able to do this one with no hand on the chair. If you've been doing this with me for a while, you feel comfortable with it, you can, and you can place your, if you're doing it as me as the mirror, it would be it's my left, your right. That hand can rest on this leg as you fold, slide down, and then back up. Hip hinge, down, and up. So again, freedom of movement is key. We don't want to be stuck in any position. So we need to be able to go into this shape. You'll feel some stretch somewhere along the way. Then you need to be able to come all the way back up to vertical. And that's this Taoist idea of the body we need to heal from illness and injury, and also just to age as best as we can. It's just, don't be carrying around a bunch of tension, and don't let areas get stagnant. So we're just making sure there's flow everywhere. Now, the other piece here, so you have this chair, should be on your right. Now shift your weight into this leg we were just stretching and clearing. Now, look what I do here. So I fold, and my leg, this other leg, is lifting behind. And then let's come back to standing. So one of the best parts of this exercise is that we're cultivating our middle pivot. So a pivot means it can turn in all directions, yet it has this stability in the middle, right? So the same middle here is the same middle here, like a seesaw, and back up. So once again, notice when I do this, if I do it sideways, you can see my spine doesn't round. I'm not getting down there by slouching my spinal column. I'm teetering. My spine is straight, and then I'm just coming back up. So it's actually quite a simple gesture in terms of there's not a lot changing. I'm not doing something at the neck and all the spine and all the arms and all the legs. I'm just actually doing nothing and going, okay, teeter-totter over this leg, teeter-totter back. And just try to find that ease with doing something that actually, in yoga, this is Warrior 3. It's considered a very difficult posture, right? It's a very advanced posture. But from the Taoist point of view, I now do all my yoga from the Taoist view. It just simplifies everything. So it's like yogis are doing things and making them more complicated than they need to be because there's not this emphasis on the simplicity of the middle pivot. So find that. And then let's switch and do that little series on the other side. So come to this other chair. So your inside leg, turn that foot out 5 degrees. Take your foot, put it out with the heel. So this is the first stretch where left hand on chair or on thigh if your balance feels good. And then you just fold and slide down and up. Down. So again, freedom of movement. And as I was talking about at the beginning, Chungwan, releasing everything that's extra and finding stability by being relaxed, connected to the ground. And then Qingling is this lightness, this easy quality that, especially as you practice it more and more, you realize, oh, you can execute these movements without a bunch of work and effort and thinking power. It's just relaxing. It's like going with the flow. Now let's do that Warrior 3 challenge. So you just shift your weight into that leg you were just stretching. Chair for safety. And just teeter-totter. Just teeter-totter down. Touch the floor. Come all the way back up. Very important to come all the way back to this vertical. And then just feel how, okay, there's a middle pivot around which I can be organized and operate this whole body. Doing all kinds of interesting movement, whether it's to get from A to B, or whether it's to pick something up off the floor, or whether just to keep some stagnation out of the body, which is really important, right? Not letting it get all bound and torqued and twisted up, that we clear it out. All right, stand. This is just body mechanics, basic body mechanics. Move over to the right chair again. So again, maybe I didn't mention at the beginning, but this is the setup you want. One chair back facing in, other chair back facing in, so that you kind of have parallel bars to work from, and a little playground out in front, little arena. So now, no hands, drop the arms. Again, very important. Notice that if you look at my body, hopefully you can see me okay, you could tell me which leg my body weight's in, right? This leg. And then as I change that, okay, now the body weight's going down to the earth through this leg. But it has nothing to do with me picking my foot up off the ground, right? That's very important. Notice that separating full and empty, stable and mobile, has nothing to do with disconnecting your foot from the floor. So it's an internal, from this middle pivot I'm talking about, change. It's a change of the arrangement of the body parts so as to connect down through the ground and keep that connection through the ground. But rather than being stuck on 2 legs, we're going, no, I only really need 1. Now that you have all the weight through, let's say, your right leg, this foot being empty now has the power of mobility. So let's lift to the tippy toe. Put the heel down with the leg still empty, and then change from your middle. So now this one's stable, this one's mobile. Lift to the tippy toe on the empty foot. Back down with the empty foot. Change. So the change happens with no disconnecting. Then you go, okay, boom, disconnect, reconnect, change. Disconnect, reconnect, change. So we take that up a notch. Get to the tippy toe. It's where you might need your chair. Disconnect the toe from the floor. That's proof, right? That really tells you, did I actually have 100 and 0? Most times the answer is no, you did not. Change 100, because a lot of times when we do this, we think we're at 0, but really we've still got 20% left in it. But only when it's truly empty can you just go whoop and back down. And also the back down is just as important to be able to go lift and lower without falling into that leg. And then from your middle, change. Tippy toe, lift, lower, change. The brain or the mind tends to think that the moving leg is the most important one. So then we forget to focus on the stable leg, which it's that stable leg that allows the freedom of movement. Change now, hand on chair, to allow you to go all the way up as high as the knee could go. And also notice something, when I lift, I'm not tight in this leg. The goal is for this leg to be loose, and stay loose as you take it back to the earth. And then it stays loose as you change the weight. The weight goes down like a plug in a socket, the energy going down into the earth. Now this one being empty, you can go tippy toe, hand on chair, and get it all the way up. And it's not just the position of getting here, it's also this quality of loose, loose, loose. Back down, loose, connect to the earth, still loose, and then change. You can feel, you start to feel this, they call it separation of yin and yang, or separation of full and empty. And then you start to find that empty quality to be what you use to move it. Okay. And then the other important thing is, if I had a teacup on my head, it's not spilling. I'm not doing this and then yanking the leg up, and then this and then yanking the leg up. Loose and relax, and then just boom, boom.
My back wants to just curl down and pull that leg up. Can you comment on your back?
Say that again, please.
My back, when I do this,
Yeah.
back wants to hunch over. Or
Yeah, you don't want to allow a major.
I want to put tension on my back so I can lift my leg up.
Yeah, that's fine. But notice what my back is doing.
Being
Or
straight.
isn't doing. I'm not doing this, but I'm also not doing this. Right? There's that happy middle place. And it may be, Lana, that you're pulling the knee too high for where you're at now. So only lift the leg as much as you can while keeping that through line. And when you force it, then you're actually kinking the joints. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna mute again just because sometimes the sound gets funky. All righty, now next exercise using those same techniques. So you got your chair, move back from your chair so you have a little runway in front of you. Put the weight in your left leg so your inside leg goes in front, heel touching. So you got this relationship in your feet. And now we shift, shift. One of the main mistakes is that we start to think forward and backward when we start moving forward and backward, and we forget that actually, oh, it's still just down. So I got my foot here, and I just relax, let the weight go down and get to the earth, and my body moved forward by itself. I didn't have to do anything extra. Same thing on the way back. It moves back and forward, just comes along for the ride if I stay relaxed. And again, to Lana's questions that she's asking, because she feels back pain by relaxing. So, do what you got to do in terms of toning things. But the idea is that if we're holding our body like this, there's a clumsiness and a top heaviness that can have us sort of the rock in the boat and the boat tips over. That there's a quality of down and through to the earth that we need to find that gives us this freedom of movement and yet stable. Now, stay in your back leg. Front leg is empty. Lift. So same idea, loose, relax. Not a huge muscle tension, but just, oh, it's empty, so I can lift it and put it back down, shift. And then this back leg being empty, you can just flamingo. Just bend the knee, put the toe down behind you, shift. So you got one foot in front, that leg goes lift lower, and it stays in front. Then you got one foot behind as you shift forward, that stays behind, and you just lift and lower. Shift back, lift, lower, shift, lift, lower, shift. And then we take that one step further, this you may need your chair for, all the way up, then down, heel touch, shift. And then this back leg comes forward and up, and then reach back, shift back. As the weight's going down this leg, this has the freedom to lift and lower. And then as the weight goes down this leg has the freedom to come forward and reach back without us falling back with the leg. And then we can shift. So the whole time we're keeping this Zhongjung central pivot as if we're just floating. That's what you start to feel the more you practice Tai Chi, is like inside of this matrix of relaxed body, you're floating. And that's a really nice feeling. And in terms of, with Parkinson's, why I think it's a match made in heaven in terms of what y'all should try to master, is because the emphasis is on calm, relaxed nerves. Whereas like Parkinson's, the nervous system is where a lot of the problem is manifesting, right? And so this mastery of regulating the nervous system. Now let's switch sides here. Put the weight in your other leg. So whichever arrangement you had, you have to switch it here. Put the other foot in front. I'm doing this outside leg, my left, your right, and then here. So now we're gonna get down to the earth, and then we're gonna get down to the earth. And my body just happened to move 3, 4, 5, 6 inches forward and backwards in space, but I didn't have to do anything about it. I just go, forward, backward. And all the concern is do I have a safe and stable, relaxed connection to the earth here? And do I also have one here? If I can discern between full and empty enough, then you start to feel this freedom of, oh, level 2, I could lift and lower, then shift. And now this leg's free to do something. And then shift. And now this leg is free to do a thing. Whatever that thing may be, stepping, kicking, walking, climbing, right? But we're just training, can you achieve this freedom? And then can you switch so that they both operate in the opposite way? And then can you switch again, full empty? And then switch again, full empty. So get really good at that switch, and then we add the challenge. lift, lower, switch. Once the switch has happened, then we can go this and this with no problem. And then you got to do the switcheroo. This and this, and then switch again. And all that switching is organized by your middle. So that becomes the constant. With all this changing of full, empty, left and right, forward, backwards, sideways, whatever, the constant is this middle, which they say navel, deep to the navel, navel, low back, this whole level of our body. It's where the mind should reside, the energy settles here, the middle pivot. And if you look in really all the Eastern cultures, they sort of have this awareness like, hey, there's something going on down here, right? Something important. The hara, the dantian, the various chakras, you know, here. And switch. So set up just like we're going to do the exact same exercise again, but we'll take it again another step further. So put the weight in your outside leg in front, heel touching. Now we're going shift. This leg being empty can step. And then shift. And then we go shift. This being empty, step while still empty, shift. So now we just moved 12 inches through space, only focusing on down, down, and then down. Teacup doing just fine. Middle pivot, just fine. Relaxed, casual. This is level 1. This is the most like casual walking through the supermarket. Just empty, full, step while empty, full, switch. Empty, full, step, empty, full. Now we go level 2. This is where your chair comes in handy. We do that lift and lower, just like before, and then shift. Now this back leg, imagine there's something on the ground you got to step over. Put the foot down while empty, and then shift, and then we do that little flamingo. And then we shift back. Imagine that thing's on the ground, so you got to lift, tuck, reach back. This is usually the most important part of this exercise that gives us, really finds this middle, and then shift. So now it's lift, lower, shift. This one's a little easier, even though this is a good challenge, but we can see where we're going. We're accustomed to moving that away. Flamingo. This is the one where you got to stay down through your standing leg and keep your middle as you reach back. Don't go with the leg. And then you choose when it's time to go. Lift, lower, shift, over, down. Shift. The sturdiness of the ground makes it potentially something to be feared, right? If we're falling and hitting that sturdiness, dangerous. It can really hurt us, right? But it's also that same sturdiness that when we connect through our standing leg, we go, oh, there it is, right? That connection to the ground, that sort of like we're plugged in to the socket of the ground. Rather than stiffly being on top of the ground, we soften, and that allows us to sort of merge with the ground. Functionally, it feels like you're blending, merging, magnetically connected in a way. Now, level 3, hand on chair, so we just maximize. All the way up, all the way down. Shift, and now just exaggerate this by going, okay, how much heel to butt, how much knee up, how much leg out, lower it down, shift, and then this one all the way up, back, shift. And again, probably the most important part of this exercise, right here, this reaching back while staying where you are. Then shift, lift, down, shift. The down gives me the confidence and ease to do all this stuff up in the air. The down. It's like the unsung hero is just being relaxed and connected to the earth. One more. Down gives me the up. Down gives me the up. And it's going down and staying down, right? It's that staying down and then staying down. Okay, switch sides. Level 1 of that exercise is put the weight in your other leg, so change your arrangement, whatever that is for you. And it's just casual, just shift. Once this is truly empty, light as a feather, step, shift, and then shift back, step back, shift back, and then shift, casual, shift, shift, step, shift. I use the term premature stepping, right? It's like when I'm at 70% instead of 100, I yank my foot and I try to step it. That's what we're all doing, sort of. Whenever you feel clumsy and imbalanced and afraid when you're walking, consider this idea that you're not taking the time to actually commit to one and free the other, and then commit to that one to free the other. So at first you have to slow down to do it, but eventually you can go back to just kind of boom, boom. Because boom, boom. But if you try to go too fast too soon, clumsy, rushed. Let's go level 2 now. Lift, lower, shift. Now there's an obstacle, so I got to go up and over. And then shift. And then that little flamingo, lift, down, shift. And then there's something behind my heel. I got to come up, tuck, and then the most important part right here. Reaching without the weight going with the leg. Then shift, because that trains this middle. This is sort of easier to do this and not fall forward or fall with the leg, but this is the one where we tend, because you can't see, so you got to reach back, stay where you are, find the earth, then shift. Lift, up and over. Flamingo. Shift. And level 3, hand on chair, up, down, shift. Now just exaggerate it. Heel to butt, knee up, foot out from the hip, lowering, and shift. And then this leg up, back, shift, up, tuck, reach, shift. Weight going down gives me the up. Weight going down. Down. And the other interesting saying in Tai Chi is the weight change happens as if underground. So even though we're changing legs, think of the idea that I'm grounded now and I don't unground and then reground. I change underground which of my legs I'm using to be grounded. So I've liberated this one. And then that happens again. I'm changing underground. So there's no point at which I'm not settled under the ground. That's what it starts to truly feel like, is when you relax and connect to the ground, you realize, oh, the whole time I'm connected, safe, stable. Last one. Come to the far left side. Turn, face down range. You got your chairs on your left for safety. Empty your left foot, put it out in front. Level 1, shift. Step while empty, shift. Step, shift. Step, shift. Shift. Once you reach the end of that runway, safely backwards, shift. Step, shift. Remember to step while empty, keep it empty, and then you decide when you change to make the empty leg the full stable leg, and then you step the empty, and then you decide. So you're not falling into the foot, you're not clumsily sort of stumbling, instead you're gracefully handing off the job of being grounded. Again, over time, as you find that confidence to be relaxed, then you just move with ease. And then let's do our level 2, if you'd like. So you can stay with level 1 or level 2 is every step is up over a small obstacle. So that just really trains you to say, okay, how truly connected to the ground can you be? And then we reverse. The reverse is, of course, more difficult, right? To reach that foot back, find the ground. Okay, so all of that was in the forward and backward direction. Let's get our lateral. Turn and be facing forward again. Put the weight in your left leg. Right foot steps out, in, out, in. Most important part of this one is that your whole foot get on the ground here of the foot that you're stepping out and in, rather than what a lot of people do is something like this. They reach the foot out and touch with the toe, which means they're just externally rotating the leg, but they're not opening this quad, this space, this groin area. And also the other thing, the mistake people make is when the leg goes out, the body goes with it, and when it comes back, the body goes with it. That means I'm also not opening and closing my quad. So notice how I'm staying in this leg is empty, and I'm stepping it out and in. Now step out and leave it out, and we change so that all the weight is through right leg. This quad has to open as this foot stays connected to the ground, and then change back. Now this quad closes, this quad opens. Quad meaning this groin hip space inside here. So the feet are glued to the ground. The leg tissue and joints are having to become more pliable like an accordion, right? This is now an extended accordion, and then I go into it and it's as if the accordion is sort of gently compressing as this one accordion's long, and then this one accordion's short as this one gets long. And so we're creating this quality rather than, let's say I had 2 sticks for legs, which is how a lot of us move around the world. It's like, okay, I'm walking around on 2 sticks versus 2 springy, changeable, accordion-like springs, right? So that's what we're cultivating with Tai Chi. Now, stay in your right leg, bring left leg in and out, in and out. And in its emptiness comes its ability to go fast, to be efficient, right? Now, very important, feet together. Change. Weight into this leg. Change. Weight into that leg. So this, by creating a very bound position, kind of like we're binding ourselves up here, we don't have all this room to change to the right and then change to the left. We're taking all that away and then still finding that, oh, yeah, I can go 100 and 0 and then change that in this internal place, this internal pivot, One of the keys to this is you can't have locked legs. You have to have that little give. So then you change through this one, it has that little give, this becomes empty. And then you change and it goes down through this other leg, so this one's empty. Change. Now, put the weight in the left leg. We put all that together to go step, change, slide in, change, and step, change, in, change. The changing of weight happens as if underground. So what you want to feel is that even though you're changing legs and you moved across the room, the entire time you had the experience of safely, stably connected to the ground. And even though the body could be loose, because that's when we start adding Tai Chi movements, right? This is the hand plays with clouds, what we work on more on the Friday class, right? We start turning and doing all this interesting exploration up here, but underneath it's just this same idea of connect, stay connected to the ground, change weight left and right. And so now let's do this bear washes pause. So this is the most basic Tai Chi movement that we can do that gives us this quality of I'm now in this leg, my turn from my middle pivot, the hands swept across, then turn the hands around and we shift and turn and brush and sweep. Still that teacup is okay, right? Because I'm shifting and turning, but yet somewhere in that middle pivot, there's a quality of stability. So all this change, yet it's not sloppy. Change. Now, stay in your right leg with your hands over to the right. Bring that left foot in. Now remember what we just talked about, how you can change into this leg with the foot close. So now change into that leg, turn, brush, sweep. Now your right foot should be empty, step it. And then shift, turn, brush, sweep. Stay there, left foot should be empty, it comes in, and then it's shift and turn, brush and sweep. Feet are close together. And then the right foot is empty, step it out. So we're traveling that way. Shift and turn and brush and sweep. Left leg empty. All right, so you should be in your right leg. Mona, yeah, get into your right, yeah, there you go. So you're in your right leg, left leg is empty. Bring that left foot in. Keep it in. Shift into the left leg, turn, brush, and sweep. This way. Now step out again. So we're traveling that way. No, step that way. The other way. So we're traveling that way. Yeah, the whole time traveling to our right for however many steps you have room for. Then once we finish going this way, then we can go back that way. So now let's bring the left foot in, back out. Now we're going shift and turn, brush, sweep. Right foot comes in and it stays in. Shift into it, turn, brush, and sweep. So now my weight's in this leg, so this foot can step. Now I'm shifting and turning, brush, sweep. This leg is empty, it comes in, it stays in, shift and turn. The weight's in this leg now, so that this foot can step. We just traveled across the room doing Tai Chi. We're turning from this middle pivot, we're opening and closing the qua, we're loosening up these sort of stuck relationships in our body. We're exploring spirals and circles, pivots. Let's go there and back again. So we step, one foot is stepping out. So in this case, it's your right leg, my left leg, and the other foot is stepping in, and that stays the whole way across. So then we're shifting and turning. Now again, the right foot steps out. shift and turn. And the left foot steps in, shift and turn. And the right foot steps out, shift and turn. And the left foot steps in, shift and turn. Right foot out, shift and turn. Switch directions. Left foot comes in and then out. Now it's the left foot stepping out, shift and turn. Right foot stepping in, shift and turn. Stepping out, shift and turn. Right foot in, left foot out. Right foot in, left foot out. And then we settle and come back to the middle. Wings. Turn palms up, roll them up, fold over top. This is a closing gesture, a sort of consolidating, gathering back to this middle, right? This idea that we have a middle. And then we go palms together, rub palms, rub the back of one hand, then palms, rub the back of the other hand, and palms. And then we go groin area or quad. And then we go hip flexors, this little tender bundle right up here. And then we come around to the tail, sacrum area, up onto the low back, lumbar section. And then remember our squat that we did earlier. Butt goes back, sit the buttocks, sweep the hands down the legs, around the feet to the inside, stand up, the hands come up the inside and all the way to the ankle. Again, quad. Hip flexors, tailbone, low back, and round and up. One more. 3, the magic number. And then this final reset, you go up to the shoulder, turn that arm palm up, sweep down and off. Turn the palm down again, same arm, up the outer, turn, sweep. Up and switch arms, up, turn, down. So the yang, or the side that sees the sun, and then the yin, the side that doesn't see as much sun. Yang, sunny side of the hill, shady side of the hill. Yang channel, yin channel. Yang channels and one more time, closing, settling, sealing. So here's the navel, center of palm. We go 1, 2. And let's take 5 breaths where you just allow everything to be relaxed. If eyes closed is possible, you can just gently close the eyes so that you get this feeling of like water that's soaking into the ground after rain naturally finds a reservoir, finds the low point and pools there. That's what happens at the end of our chi practice when we be quiet, when we clear the mind of all thought, clear any emotional turbulence, settle everything, the body. We don't have to push the chi or put the chi anywhere. We just don't do anything extra, and it naturally pools and refills the battery. So it's a high-level technique to just get out of the way. Easier than it sounds to do nothing. Truly do nothing. And then this hand mudra, hand position to close. So you take one thumb, grab, and fold. And that creates this little yin yang looking symbol. And again, this representing, right? In martial arts, sometimes they'll do, power and compassion or something, or peace, and they do it like that, right? They're saying, oh, we're balancing this, violent nature with a calm and peaceful nature. But I love the Taoist point of view, which is it's almost more primal. It's saying yin and yang, the polar opposites, duality, and we cultivate the middle pivot. So that's this idea here. Thank you, everybody. Have a marvelous week. If there are any questions